Hey, welcome back to the Junius Maltby channel. I sensed a disturbance in the force, as if some of you needed a little motivation today. I don't like doing these videos because honestly, it's like having to re-explain everything all over again and motivate somewhat of the timid or the weak hands. Ignore this. Like I told one subscriber in the comments earlier today, don't look at the day, look at the decade. This doesn't matter. Look at the trend here. 4 down years out of the last 15. And we're still up 30% this year. But again, gold is static. It's just a flat line. The price that we see changing is how many fiat paper monopoly notes it takes to acquire said gold. These prices don't matter, as we've discussed many times. They're fun to look at, fun to discuss, fun to measure against the dollar and other things. But I would urge you to ask yourself, fundamentally, what has changed? Has anything really changed? Could it be that banks are selling off large positions of their paper contracts? Is there some type of spoofing or manipulation mechanism in place to try to discredit metals at this time, as is done in the past? Spoofing is real. We can't ignore the fact that it has occurred. I don't want to focus on that. However, let's pretend for a moment that isn't taking place whatsoever. This is just some profit taking, a healthy pause or correction, if you will. Maybe some consolidation. Maybe others wish to accumulate at these prices. Many of you voiced concern at the velocity of the parabolic rise in gold, hoping that it would go a little bit slower to allow you more time to take more positions in the metal. And I think that's wise. That's a very good assessment and position to be in. You know, if gold was a good idea to purchase at $2,000 or $2,050, I would assume that you would agree it's a good position to purchase it at $1,928 or $1,900. This correction, I don't know how deep it's going to go. I expect it to begin to buy back and turn green again shortly. We're not even near fall yet. We're not even near bloody red October, which should be quite interesting. You wait until the stimulus comes out and they mail $1,200 to every breathing human, including immigrant, in the United States. And they continue to prop up and support the system with mass printing and inflation and the $27 billion a day cranked into the financial system. To the quantitative infinity continues on and on. The Treasury and Fed relationship just entangles and destroys the dollar even further. The fundamentals haven't changed whatsoever. Yes, there's been a rally in the equities markets, and that's what the headlines are saying. Oh, equities are on fire again, and investors are turning towards equities. We see how that turns out time and time again. You cannot chase the green. If you do, well, you just buy the highs and get broke. You got to invest or save and preserve your wealth the way that's best for you. And if you're looking at wealth preservation over time, well, it's just a constant, steady pace, like the turtle. You know, the rabbit's going to run and fall asleep under a tree, and eventually you, the turtle, will pass it by. And you'll ultimately win the race. That's just the way it goes, the rabbit and the turtle. It's a age-old story, but I think it's relevant when you compare gold and some of the more fast-paced trading that takes place in other markets. But again, gold isn't that. It doesn't earn a dividend. It isn't something that you invest in hoping to make a quick buck overnight or the next day. It's not going to give you some 11,000% gain, although it could. And like I said to another commenter earlier today, gold is like a gun. You don't need it, truly, until you really do. And if you do need it and you don't have it, well, then you're dead, financially, economically, deceased. Again, it's 10,000 years of money. 10,000 years compared to the 40 that we've been on an unbacked, completely floating exchange system of fiat paper awash on the globe. And in every currency, gold continues to break records. If it stopped right now and stayed flat the remainder of this year, we would still be up 33% in dollars for this year, and up a significant percentage in every currency on the planet. And I truly believe when you look at the charts and the fundamentals, when you look at what's going on, when you look at the backdrop of everything taking place on this planet currently, it doesn't change anything. We're still in that multi-decade bull run. So as unnerving as this might be for some people who happen to stumble upon gold because they saw a headline or an article or a news broadcast or a radio ad, and they just now found gold and decided to buy in at 2,000 at 2,100, I would just tell them to pause, take a breath, relax, and evaluate what was it that drove them to acquire precious metals. Because if it was FOMO, fear of missing out, and just running with a herd or just buying the hottest next thing, gold's probably not for you. You might want to just go back to what you were doing. Watch your reality TV, play golf on the weekends, go to the barbecue, put your pink and white Nikes on, and just live your life and hope for the best. Hope for the best and just, vote, carry on. Don't pay too much attention to things. Everything will turn out just fine. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's okay, right? No. However, this gets back to that video we've done a couple of them, the ideology of saving in precious metals, because it's an ideology. You have to really invest some time into studying the history of monetary policy, of economics, the role of gold in human history. And if you're in the United States and you're interested in the United States history of these things, you should look at some of the videos on the executive orders and the history of the Coinage Act and Supreme Court cases that have taken place throughout the history of this country as they pertain to precious metals and legal tender laws. Because I don't think anything's changed whatsoever. Today is just a blip. As a matter of fact, I didn't know gold was moving this way or silver until I was notified by one of the field reporters of this channel, Paladin Stacker, who's out there fighting tooth and nail for truth and relaying information to me quite often. And he sent me a message saying, "You're getting those triple-digit moves in gold today," with a smiley. And of course we are. We're getting a triple-digit move. However, just as gold retreated $100 so far today, and silver 13%, down $3 or so, back to 25, they can easily reverse that. And we can see triple-digit gains in gold, as we expect to see in the future. And silver could easily march up $5 an ounce tomorrow or the next day. This could turn around tomorrow. Today could be actually a really nice little buying opportunity for some people. Honestly, this is nothing to even blink at. As a matter of fact, it doesn't even faze me whatsoever. I ignore it. Because guess what? You still have the metal. You still have silver. You still have gold. It still can't be taken from you. It's still there physically, and it's never gone to zero. It never can. It never will. It's going to retain its purchasing power, and if you look at the overall trends, you look at the overall direction of the dollar and its future, you know where that's going. All fiat currencies reach their intrinsic value eventually, and that's zero. The dollar is suffering. It's going to continue to be eroded. Remember, it is the leper with the most fingers left. It is an unhealthy position to have exposure to the US dollar. So, look at metals today. Take advantage of the opportunity. Don't fret. I know some people freak out. That's just who they are. They're just very timid, or perhaps, I don't know, they are sensitive to these types of things. They get nervous quite easily. Well, I can't change that. There's probably other things, medications or therapy, or people they can talk to heal those things, or maybe try to address them in other ways. But this is just part of the battle, part of the fight. And if you've been in the trenches for any length of time doing this sort of thing, it comes with the territory. It just comes with it. And there's other areas in which, I've ventured into as far as asset allocation and finances over time in life. And I'll tell you, this is really just something you deal with. A little 5% like this, nothing. Silver doesn't really surprise me much. I've told you guys before, it's a volatile chart, and when it corrects hard. And it wouldn't surprise me, again, like I said in the past in a video, in the past month or so, it wouldn't surprise me if they were capable of beating silver down back to about $19, $18, $20 again. It wouldn't surprise me in the least, especially when we see the equity sell-offs and all of the financial institutions having to cover some losses and make up for their margins and such. And gold would likely be affected in that same area. I don't think it will be as significant as the retreat with silver. However, it should see a correction if that were to happen to the equity markets and the banks and the financial institutions just as well. And I expect it to occur at some point this year. This might be part of it. It might come again further. But overall, going into 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, and so on, I think the chart you're looking at right now will just continue in that overall march upwards. Even when you look at the last correction that we saw in 2011, what did it do? It came down a little bit, consolidated, it traded in a particular range for some time, and then it exploded out of it. That could very well likely happen again. We might see a floor occur at around 17 or 1800, perhaps 1900, and then trade within a range of 1800 to 2100 for a little while, hit 2500, and then march back up to 3000 and breach that. Again, I don't know because I don't know anything. All we can do is buckle up and ride it out. And when I look at this compared to the big picture, some of the things I actually wanted to talk about later today, because I've gotten some requests from a lot of you to discuss other topics, specifically some preparation things when we discuss and look at what's going on in this country and in the world. There are some much more important and much bigger things that need to be discussed. Let me tell you that. Gold and silver acquisition is a very, very minute and small part of what I consider the preparations necessary in going forward in what we are about to face in this country and in this world. They're important, but they're not the entire picture. It's not the most important thing. Not at all. Not at all. It's a part of it, but it's just not the most important. There are some other things that you need to look at, other areas that you need to prepare in, and we're going to talk about those later. But I just want to remind all of you that you're doing the right thing, you're doing great, you're stacking metals, and I encourage each and every one of you to continue focusing on what's going on and the ideology of saving in precious metals. If you need a reminder of that and further motivation, go check out some of the other videos we've done on gold, where I've discussed in much more depth the importance of gold ownership. Thank you for tuning into the Junius Maltby channel. Please like, share, and subscribe, and all of you have a good rest of your day.